Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another story in the life of the old-time rock and roller. Today we're going to be talking about building fans for your band. Now, I had a brand new band. We had taken over the state and we needed to expand. So I thought, okay, where else have I played in my career that we could reach out to and take the band? And I thought, well, geez, I played 10 years up in New England. I had a lot of fans back then. I got on the internet and I found Harry's House of Blues in Hyannis and Chan's Jazz and Egg Roll in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. And the more I read about Chan's, I realized that Duke Ellington and Frank Sinatra and modern people, Coco Montoya, Debbie Davies, he just kept going. I mean, he was an institution there. So I booked us a date at both places. Now, when you travel on the band, hotels and everything are expensive. So you want to cut down the costs as much as possible. I called my old drummer friend, Tommy Bonarico, who I had bonded with back in the early 70s when his band, the Daddy Warbucks, and my band Choker became friends, and we had stayed in touch ever since. I also called my old keyboard player, Todd Urbanus. Both were very happy to do the date, so I sent them the tape of our new record, and they learned all the material. On a personal note, this was a very special experience for me because it was the first time my brother Steve joined us on stage playing guitar and singing. And he would continue to join us on all our subsequent northern tours. The McDonald Brothers had finally hit the stage together. Man, that was a blast. The first night in Hyannis, we pulled up in a snowstorm. It was probably 6 degrees, but the fans were there in droves. We played a real hot set, and my friend Johnny Barnes, who had been a local guitar player, singer, celebrity in New England since the 70s, came out and sat in with us. It was a marvelous time. The next day we packed it up, drove up to Woonsocket, Rhode Island, set up at Chan's, and I met John Chan, and he told me people had been calling, making reservations all day, and both the 8 o'clock and the 10 o'clock show were sold out. John had previously given me the name of a guy at the Providence Journal to call and do an interview to publicize the show. So, because I had a good reputation and had played on old-time rock and roll and with Bobby Womack and had, 10, 11 albums out, he was happy to book me. And the guy at the Providence Journal was happy to write the story. Well, it appeared the Sunday before our shows. It was a full-page color feature in the music and entertainment section. It was great. That night, the first set, I looked out in the audience. I saw people I hadn't seen in 40 years. People I went to high school with. People I went to camp with. Musicians I had played with throughout the year. A guy who even worked on my cars, my old mechanic. My old guitar students. A guy I had a hot dog with once. I mean, people were there from everywhere. And we sold probably 100 CDs at each show. It was fabulous. I also had it filmed. So when I got back home, I was able to put the film up on the internet and increase our exposure, not only by performing live, selling CDs live, but now I had Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, every place I could post this action on. The fans were increasing. So I booked a date down in Atlanta, Georgia. It really wasn't my show, but I told a couple of friends of mine. Andrew Black, who I had played with for 20 years, he was performing. He said, come out and sit in with my band. I went over to Andrew's gig, had that filmed. We did a great version of Hey Joe. It's out there on the internet. Now, my old bass player, Jim Carr from the Oxbow Incidents, became a music teacher for the 6th grade. And as one of his classes, he used the Hey Joe video to teach his students about Jimi Hendrix. So just traveling around and sitting in with people and going to new markets, old markets, is a great way to increase your fan base, especially if you've got a new band, but you yourself have a reputation. I'm sure everyone in your band has lived in other places. And so you always want to reach out to any place you've lived before and try and connect and rebuild those old fans. It's a great way to get more fans to hear about your new band. Now, in Richmond, Virginia, for 10 years at least, there was a guy named Little Ronnie Owens who had Little Ronnie and the Grand Dukes, and they were king of the blues around here. Well, Ronnie's guitar player was taking a year off, and he had a Wednesday night jam session at a place called the Blue Bistro, which is now called the Tin Pan, and a big showcase act for, traveling bands. The Nighthawks, Tinsley Ellis, you name it, they all come through there. So I played there for a solid year. One night, a guy who co-wrote Wheel in the Sky Keeps on Turning with Journey came in, Robert Fleischman. So you've got to get out there, and the final piece I'm going to add is collaborate with as many people as you can, have them on your record, and they'll have you on their record. So even though if they put up a little spot of their song on Instagram, people will go hear their song and they'll go, oh, who's this guy Forrest McDonald? Man, he's a great guitar player. Let's check into his music. So that, my friends, is how we gained, personally, more fans for our band. I hope it means something to you and you can get something out of it. But this was way back in 2009, and we were on the verge of launching a new CD called Certified Blue. We'll learn all about that in the next story. In the meantime, my friends, keep love in your heart, a song in your head, and I will see you down the story highway on the next adventure of the old-time rock and roller. So long, my friends.